It is, good afternoon, everyone. It is now 5 till 6, and we have a public hearing that starts at this time. And I will now call our public hearing to order. Our public hearing notice is to receive public comment concerning the adoption of an ordinance to allow county agencies to pay a bonus not to exceed $500 pursuant to Code 15.2-1508 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended. A copy of this proposed ordinance may be inspected and obtained in the County Administrator's Office in the Dickinson Center of Education and Research in Clintwood, Virginia. Do any of us have comments? Do you have anything to start us off with?
Well, Madam Chair, of course, this is something we done last year to allow. I know we have some county agencies that may be paying a Christmas bonus, and of course, this board voted back in October to give a $500 bonus to full-time and $250 to part-time. And just according to code, we have to adopt an ordinance to allow the payment of those bonuses.
Okay. If there's anyone watching and has a public comment, you may call at 276-333-0357. If there's anyone in the audience, which I do thank all of you all that have came out tonight, if any of you all have a comment, you may step to the podium and do so.
I like it a lot. Is yours the air? Mine, I got the air just so I can carry it around, but I like it. Batteries, it's not even, there's no comparison.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So do we have to do this every year if it's an ordinance, isn't it?
Will, I guess you're the best one to answer it, but our ordinance actually expires with an expiration date on it. So.
Okay, that answers it.
So it is required every year.
Yeah,
based
that's
on
what
that
I was
date.
checking.
It's 5:59.
Yeah, we can-
No calls? Okay, with no comments or no calls, we need a move and second to close public hearing.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a move and second to close public hearing. Any comment? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay. And we will get started right in on our regular meeting here just in a minute. Okay, I will now call our regular meeting of the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors to order on today's date, December the 20th. I would like to recognize that Mrs. Willis, Mrs. Sluss, Mr. Peters, Mr. Evans, and myself, all 5 board members are present. Our clerk, Teresa Lyle, our county administrator, Mr. Barton, our attorney, Will Sturgill, and our IT, Adam Mullins, is here keeping us online for people to watch. And from here, I will ask Mr. Barton if he will lead in prayer. After prayer, we'll all stand for Ron Peters to lead us in pledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's bow our heads. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, as we come before you tonight, Lord, we just pray that you'd watch over us through this meeting, Lord. Lord, I pray for wisdoms for our supervisors as they lead the county, Lord. I just pray that be with all the citizens of the county, Lord, with all the sickness that's been going around, Lord. I just pray that you would just be with them, keep them safe, Lord. Lord, with this upcoming cold weather, Lord, we just pray that the power stays in place and people stay warm and safe, Lord. Lord, watch over us all, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Peters?
If everyone stands for the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the second item on our agenda is the approval of our minutes from our special call meeting on November the 9th, November the 16th, our public hearing at our regular meeting on November 22nd, and our regular board meeting also on the 22nd. And before I call for any comments and corrections, I want to thank Mr. Evans, the vice chair, for conducting all of those meetings for me last month. I did participate, but I was on the phone, but I was not in person from having had surgery. And I thank him for taking care of those for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are there any comments, corrections to any of these minutes that's in our packet?
Madam Chair, I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a move and second to approve the minutes of our last meetings in the month of November. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to item number 3, the approval of our agenda. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions, or anything for our agenda? I haven't seen anything laying on the desk or come through, so I will now hear a motion and a second to approve our agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a move and second to approve the agenda as it's been presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to number 4. We have 5 different items under the consent agenda, which is approval of the expenditures, the county administrator's report, the drug court/community work program report, animal control report, and our fire and rescue report. Are there any discussions on any of those reports?
Madam Chairman, I have a question. I would like to see, looking over the Dixon County Animal Shelters report, I assume ACO stands for Animal Control Officer.
Yes.
I would like to see, it says number of dogs brought to the shelter by the Animal Control Officer. I would like to see a differentiate between the ones that are brought to the shelter by people or the ones they go out and collect.
That's a good.
It's on there.
I think on number 3, it shows the number of dogs brought to the shelter by individuals was
Was
0
zero.
this
Oh,
past
okay.
month on that.
It's on there.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know why. But, so they personally went out and collected
Yeah, it's
20
got-
dogs.
20 dogs and 5 cats was brought by the 2 animal control officers. Yes,
I
ma'am.
have another question about, I would like to specify the fire department. Looking at their, it has, year-to-date, Clintwood Rescue, 1,295, Hayside, 698. I don't think that that's house fires. So is it by law, every time you have a wreck or an accident that the fire department has to go out, Robert? You would know, huh?
Most of the time, yes.
So this is what most of this is?
No.
Well, you don't have, how many house fires would you, I asked Ron Kendrick, asked him about how many house fires you would have in Dixon County, and he answered
go out
maybe
for
6 or
wrecks.
7.
We've had 33 this year.
33. That's more than he told me. Well, there is,
That's
the-
just Clintwood.
that's just Clintwood, okay. So is there a way you could differentiate, when you go out on a wreck, that doesn't necessarily mean that you take a full, you don't take a full staff with you, do you?
3 or 4.
3 or 4? And so the biggest majority of these calls are for wrecks. Is that correct?
Public assistance services, racks, gas leaks. We've been up to the sleep in 3 or 4 times for a stuck elevator, and we've had to get people out of the elevator.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the biggest majority of them are for,
Rhonda, I think what you're looking at is a total call out for service.
so they may not go out on these calls?
No, we're going out on those are just like a total call.
Well, I would like to know what,
Everything included.
if they're for wrecks, or if they're for house fires, or if it's for public assistance. I'd like to see that differentiate made in this report.
It can be, they can pull that out.
Okay.
Dispatch that way.
I would like to see it because it certainly looks, I know we've not had that. You compare 33, believe me, I've had my house be burned. When you, but I would like to see that put house fires put on there with, and differentiate between house fires, wrecks, and public assistance, if that would be possible. I don't know who fills this out. Do you know who does, Robert?
Mr. Nathan Mullins gets his for me each month, so he'd be the one that would have to pull that
If you
data.
could
and I
do
don't know.
that, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other comment, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion and a second to approve these 5 items and under the consent agenda?
So move.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a move and second. If no other comment, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye as well. Any opposed?
I, for me too, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am, aye for me as well.
You got 5
Yeah.
ayes then, Teresa? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to item number 5, which is public comment. For the people who may be watching their YouTube live, the phone number should be running across the screen, or if you are listening by phone or what, you can call 276-333-0357. Anyone in the audience here that may want to speak during public comment, you need to come to the podium, you need to state your name and address, and everyone, even by phone, has 3 minutes to speak. And the floor is now open.
My name is Perry Moore, address Rose Ridge, 2002, Clintwood. I'm here on behalf of the Dixon County Bass Club. You all have opened up the gate out there going to the truck shop, and you are leaving our building vulnerable to vandalism and destruction. And believe me, before the gate was up there, I replaced doors, windows. They shot the lights out of the dusted on lights. So, you know, I think you all have put us at a real bad disadvantage out there. We actually the one built the road and everything out there to the past the Bass building. And that was the purpose of that gate there, was to protect their building out there. So, I don't, you know, I don't know how much good that's gonna do leaving that gate open, but I know what bad it'll do. I would like for the board to look at some other option, some way or another.
Is there a way we can secure it?
Madam Chair, I spoke with Mr. Mullins on that, you know, the weekend of Thanksgiving, I think, and he expressed the concern you guys had as far as the potential vandalism to the building. And, you know, I spoke with him again this past Friday, and Adam over here doing the videos, one of our IT guys, and I went over today actually and got with them. They got a camera put up yesterday at the truck shop on that area where we're making our place where the citizens can bring trash after hours and dump that. We also have a camera for you guys to try to help monitor your building, protect your building. And then he also showed me a couple other cameras. I was going to reach out with Mr. Mullins. I'd be glad to get with you after the meeting and see they had some other options on some cameras that we could help out with to try to, you know, watch over your building and deter anyone from doing anything. So,
What if damage occurs? Who's gonna pay for that though?
well, I'm assuming you guys have insurance.
We do, but every time we file an insurance claim, you know what happens.
Right,
your
but I think,
bills
you know,
go up.
if we can post some signs, you know, it's under, you know, premises monitored by security cameras, they see the cameras, and hopefully that would deter anybody from doing anything. And then if so, you know, we would hopefully have the footage that the sheriff's department could look into, you know, whoever it was causing the damages. And
Well, we've had sheriff's departments out there before too, and in the past, before we've done all that. And we actually, I think they had caught the individuals. The judge actually ordered them to pay restitution. You know, you can't get blood out of a turnip.
True.
You know what I mean? I really wish you all would consider some other alternative. Put us up a fence or do something other out there where we can box them out. You know, the cameras ain't gonna keep them out. You know, the cameras, they're just gonna smile at you and go on. But I really wish the board would consider something, to take it up some way or another to address that out there.
Whose gate is at the bottom?
the cell phone tower they own, they bought the gate.
And, you know, we don't have internet out there, so how's your cameras gonna
We
actually operate?
have, they purchased cameras that work off of a SIM card, like the cellular service, is what we're using down there.
But I wish y'all would consider some other alternative, because I don't think that's gonna help you. People on Saturdays or after hours wants to get rid of big trash. They don't want the bag trash. I know where the bag trash is gonna end up at the Bass building. People are not gonna pack it up out of their car, up past y'all's fence and throw it in. I don't even know where you got a dumpster there, or if you just got a slot there for them to dump it in.
No, we have a convenience site with 3 dumpsters there, and, you know, there's a walk gate they go through to get to the dumpsters to put it in, so.
But people want some place to get rid of their big trash on Saturdays. That's their main goal. But I'm afraid y'all have opened up a,
Have you had people dump stuff in your,
oh yes, even,
how many did it this year?
well, none, because
Would
the
you
gate was,
guess?
but the gate was closed.
Oh, okay.
But they actually took, when our gate would get, for some reason, left unlocked, the truck shop or whatever, leave it unlocked, they would take it out there at the gate and throw it out. So,
You said fenced in, how much area are you talking about?
we've got an acre there, I think is what we
That's gonna
got.
be very costly to,
But if you just went along the road just to keep them from, getting over in there. I mean, I just throw that out as maybe an option or something other.
You said the gates for the cell tower, right?
That's who purchased the last gate that was up. There was an old gate before that, I'm told, and then when the cell tower went in, they bought a new gate and put up, so.
Yeah, we had the fence and all up there prior to, even before the old REACT come out there. The old, when it was the old REACT building. I'm all for getting rid of garbage, believe me. At one year, I picked up 27 ton myself.
yeah, I know you did.
And that was years ago. I took crews of jailbirds out and we picked up 27 ton.
Went on the lake and picked up garbage too, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, and our building is used for, boating safety courses, hunting safety courses, trash pickup, like you say, down at the lake. Our club takes our boats, personal boats, and goes down there and picks up trash and plants, fish attractors and things. Everything is done through the state, though, to make sure we're legal. We don't put nothing in the lake that they won't approve. We work with the biologists out of Bradford, up in that area. So, our club is not, it's an active club and it's for the county. But we just don't want our building destroyed. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Perry, for coming with that, because you had called me when it first happened. I didn't realize when we discussed putting that up there, didn't even think about that gate was a secured gate for the Bass Club too.
Me neither.
Just did not think about it.
We would have loved to been asked,
No.
it might might have kinda got a little better along, you know, we could work something other maybe out if we'd even been considered in the process.
Well, just for the public's knowledge, this was a compromise. I think the motion actually hasn't been modified, but the motion that passed was to have Saturday hours at our transfer station, and much like anything that we try to do, it become a big conglomerate and mess, and so this station was a compromise. But it's just like anything we seem to do, it's always something. So
How much is it being used?
we've not got it open yet. I mean, it's not been formally
It's
used
soft
yet.
opening, but it's not formal, so we're trying to get our signs
And
and
we want
cameras. They
the-
just got
So
cameras
we
in
have
this
moved-
week,
Been
so-
left open.
Yes, it's open, but we've not
On the
advertised it.
weekend?
Yes.
Okay, didn't think it had been
Well,
that
so
long.
we-
Weekends, nights and all.
Yeah.
we're not gonna open the transfer station, and went up here and opened that up? I
We're
didn't
trying
know
that
that.
initially, yes.
Yeah. When we get
I
into
thought
the
we were
transfer
gonna put
station,
some
it gets
hours
into
down at the
permitting
transfer
issues.
station. That
Well,
didn't
that's
work
what we were
out.
gonna do, and that's was a big
There's some issues
ordeal.
with the Waste
Well, I
Authority and
understand, I
transfer
can see your
station stuff.
concern, and
Okay, well, if we have anybody else that has a public comment, has anyone called? Okay. Anyone else have a comment?
Brett Tiller, 170 Emerald Drive of Clintwood. I was told that GIS was going to be on the docket of things we were going to discuss, and that's something that I have been trying to lobby for a few years. In the real estate world, it's something that is desperately needed in this county. The lack thereof is costing us a lot of property that could be developed, or a lot of property that could even be sold that can't be located. So mainly I'm here tonight just to kind of see where we are at, on that, and what our intentions are of moving forward with that. But it's something that I think is desperately needed, and I've talked with several people in the room about it at one point or another. So just curious to see where we are with that today.
That is the third, our next item, number 6, is we have 3 presentations, and that is the item C to be discussed at the very next topic,
Okay,
once we
excellent.
close public comment.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Still no call? You want to close?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we close public comment.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Willis. Second, please.
Yeah, second.
Okay, we have a move and second to close public comment. Any other comments from the board? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay. Number 6 on the agenda is presentations, and the first one is Jolene Mock with travel softball team, if he'll come forward.
Hello, girls
Well, I wasn't
and Jolene.
prepared for any presentation, but I did send you all pictures of the uniforms and an estimate. But I did write a little something. I said, good evening, supervisors. First, I would like to thank you all for your time and allowing us to be on the agenda. Secondly, I would once again like to thank Josh and Shelby for their donation last season purchasing our All-Star uniforms. Those uniforms were used for All-Stars and afterwards for our travel softball team. I'm here today on behalf of the Wolfpack Travel Softball Team. Our Wolfpack Travel Softball Team was established last year after the girls decided we would play in one travel tournament after the All-Star tournament was over. The girls love it, and we came home with a second place finish, losing to a well-established travel team from Northeast Tennessee in the championship. From that tournament, the girls and us coaches decided we would keep it going, and we played ball for the rest of the summer up until mid-October. During this time, the girls amassed a record of 32 wins and 10 losses. They finished with 3 first-place finishes, 3 second-place finishes, and 2 third-place finishes. We played against teams from Northeast Tennessee, Jefferson County, Kentucky, Bluefield, Virginia, and West Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee, to name a few places. More impressive than their record was the development these girls made. Shelby, as well as the parents that are here, can attest to the difference in these girls' skills from the start of the season to the end of the season. Two things I'm most proud of with this was, one, all of our girls on our team are from Ridgeview Little League. That means all of our girls will more than likely be playing together throughout school. Unlike most travel ball organizations, we didn't pick up any girls from any other districts or any other counties. And two, through the support Josh, Shelby, local communities, and businesses, we were able to raise enough money to cover all our tournament fees, our insurance, our equipment costs from last season. This was a big point of emphasis for me personally because I didn't want any child left behind because they couldn't afford to play. We were able to accomplish this, and I'd like to thank everyone who did donate to us last year to help make it possible. Now for the reason we are here today. We're about to start our 2023 season. Our first tournament's actually the 1st in March. And we would like y'all's assistance purchasing new uniforms. The uniforms are the ones I sent. For our full uniforms, the cost will be $1,019.76 before tax and shipping, as indicated in the estimate that I sent. This will cover tops and pants for all 12 girls on our roster. All 12 of these girls are from Dixon County and all participate in the Ridgeview Little League program. They come from all of the board supervisor districts in our county. This would help us significantly in the amount of money that we have to raise to cover other costs, such as we have a camp coming up, tournament registration fees, and insurance, as well as balls and other stuff that comes up throughout the season. We want to keep this organization going with as little financial burden as possible on the parents. As we all know, times are hard, and Dixon County is one of the poorest counties that there is. And I would hope that this would not be a reason that these girls' development is hindered. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good job, Jelaine.
Good job.
I certainly would have donated if I knew about it. Nobody did call me and ask me, but I'm sure in
It
favor.
wasn't much for their t-shirts. They had their paints and then we just bought the t-shirts.
Well, I certainly want to support so I know the Ridgeview varsity and junior have a good team and have done quite well. And I would like to see, I certainly want to see them, I would donate to their efforts and I thank you for what you do working with these girls. And I wish they had that when I was doing it. I played softball, but I didn't have no uniform on. But there's more for girls now than there was when I was going.
You know, all the teams that they play against, they pick out the best players out of different communities, not just their county. These are the only team that is just from one county. I asked one team, they were really good, and I asked that girl, I said, where y'all from? She said, we're from everywhere.
Well, my little nephew, he got selected for the all-star team basketball team. He's in the 4th grade. And they will be traveling, and I think it only consists of Ridgeview students also.
Now, these girls will compete against each other in the regular season for Dickinson because they choose their teams. They'll play against, but then they'll play together on the travel team.
So you don't pick out an all-star, they all go and play?
No, you pick out all-star at the end
For
of
a
the
travel
season.
team, at the end of the season. Well, I know that's what my nephew is in basketball. I don't know, do we have?
Jelaine, y'all have an account set up, and it goes to,
Here's our treasurer.
and it goes, how do we write our check?
You can write it out too, it's called the Ridgeview Wolfpack Travel Softball Team.
Okay. We need to know so we can call Cindy, tell her.
Ridgeview Travel softball team?
Wolfpack Travel Softball Team.
We'll
Are you all one, I understand that there's 2 baseball and 3 softball travel teams in the county. Are you all one of those 3? Or are you additional one?
I'm only aware of 2 traveling softball organizations, us and the Lobos.
Oh, okay.
It's of the girls that are they older or younger than you?
Well, I didn't ask if it was boys or girls, I was
There's
just
2
doing
travel
some
teams.
checking and asked how many travel teams was in the county.
2.
And I was told 2 baseball and 3 softball.
I'm aware of two softball.
And you're one of the
Yeah.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the other one? I mean,
Lobo.
what's that mean, Lobo?
That's just the name of the team. My granddaughter plays on that.
So where do they come?
What's the name of it?
They're an older team than they
They're
are.
older
right?
than your girls?
Yes.
They have there'll be a 12U team this year, we're 10U, and then they have a 10U as well.
So where do y'all play and practice at?
Wise.
We
No, where do
play
you
both
practice
sides.
at?
Yeah,
We practice
McClure.
at McClure, Clintwood, Fairfield, Ridgeview, Fairfield we can get.
I was wondering if you'd practice at Ridgeview, because they've got a great softball
Yeah,
field.
we practice there a few times. We usually try to keep it at McClure because that's.
So you travel, make the different
And
places.
you all talk about the money. It's $10 per person to enter in, to go watch the team. You talk about money that is made at those games.
Where does it go to? then?
We are losing money in this county by not having a complex.
Oh, you're talking about when they have
You cannot find a parking place.
when they have a gathering for all of them to play tournament. So you can't host a tournament down at McClure?
No.
Why?
Because we have one field in McClure. You're looking at, most of those tournaments we went to, 8 teams per age division, 8U, 10U, 12U, 14U, so you're looking at.
Well, you know, that's something I think the
30
Ridgeview
teams.
School needs to look into expanding all that land they got up there. That's just, why not put some,
I've made that comment multiple times.
why not put some soccer fields and softball fields? Actually, I mean, they bought 100 acres, I think it was. And they've got some land out there where they park that could be developed into softball fields and
That's
soccer
what Ben
fields.
McFall's going to do.
Yeah, Ben made that.
We're losing a lot of money.
We are, I mean, that's something you need, you need, Jelaine, to take it up with the school board to make that land available to put these, softball teams, they can be able to play, basketball, and, I mean, they got a lot of land up there that's not being used for anything.
The parents pay $10 even with the kids in the car, they still have to pay $10.
Yeah, we pay for the kids' entry and then we have to pay to get in too.
I'm sure they use a lot of that money to keep up the field up at Wise, but I'm sure they've got excess money from all the people that's up there.
Well,
'Cause
Wise-
they have 4 fields going on.
Yeah, they've got a huge thing dedicated at Wise, out to the airport,
That's where
where
they
they
play.
have fields and fields for soccer, and
They go to Tasman.
I guess it was a old strip job that was
They go to
converted.
Richlands occasionally.
I don't know why our school board can't use some of that land up there at the school to convert it into, let's use it for something, let's not just let it sit there. When we could, I know it takes money I think Ben McFall appeared before us with a proposal, and that's something we need to look into, and along with the school board.
I proposed the Clinchville Elementary site, but the school board ain't gonna give that up, so. That's what.
Which that's central, that would be a good place for one.
Yeah, it
And we
would.
need, not only just for the money that you can make off of travel softball tournaments, but the Little League program in general. We're having to travel, you have kids traveling from this end of Clintwood all the way to Splash Dam to play, or from Haysaw all the way to Clinton to play, or practice, because you don't have nowhere central with a bunch of fields that they can all practice and play on.
I agree.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Jelaine.
Thank you.
Down the road, Sand Lick will be available too, because that's gonna have to be torn down and that
Jelaine,
will
I'll
come
put my
back.
part in.
What's
for
that?
Yeah, I'll send a donation from the Irvington District, my recreation funds as well.
Well, I'll certainly give you a donation too.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Jelaine, what did you say the figure was, 1,000?
1,000 something.
it's in here,
$19.76.
$1,019.76, but that is before tax and shipping.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Item B, Hayside Rescue Squad. Let's see, is Gracie here tonight?
No,
Oh,
Terry.
oh, you came tonight,
I'm
okay.
back finally.
Good to see you, Terry.
It's good to be back, I tell you that.
Have you been sick?
And COVID.
I've had
You had
long-term
COVID?
COVID side effects.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had the COVID Labor Day weekend. For 6 weeks, I couldn't hardly get up out of a chair when I sat
Bless your
down.
heart.
Couldn't get in and out of a vehicle by myself hardly. And they finally found something that works to help it, and I'm back doing what I like to do now. And actually, I made 3 squad runs today before I come up here.
Good.
Well, I'm gonna just say this off the cuff, Terry. You're not as pretty as the last person we had.
Well, I may not be, but I've been here so long that y'all know me.
Not that I'm looking, I'm happily married, I
I
promise.
understand. If you all got any questions for me, I'll give Mr. Barton a copy of paperwork there that just this month I have paid out approximately $4,000. And that's not all my bills, that's just some of the major ones that I got in yesterday and today. And,
That came off of the balance that you had in by the bank statements and stuff at the end of November,
well, I
right?
gave him a copy of my balance
Oh,
as of
okay.
right now.
Okay.
He's got that, in case you want to talk to him on that. I didn't make copies for everybody, I didn't have time I got back to the house this evening.
That's okay, that's all right.
But we've got inspection coming up at our squad this month, and I've had to purchase quite a bit of stuff that, was going out of date, and had to buy one portable suction unit that did go. Well, it just quit on us. That was $500 for that. But the total just for the items that I purchased to get ready for this inspection, $1,600 and some dollars this month. And that's probably not gonna be everything. But that's enough to, I think, get me by. I paid the $1,500 for the EMT class that Grace had asked you about last meeting. I went ahead and paid that. That's for 5 students in the EMT class.
So how much are you asking, Mr. Terry?
How much is what?
ARPA funds, how much are you asking for?
I think 5 or 50.
5,500. 5,500.
55, I think is what she asked for.
Said 18,000.
We need to have a meeting on the ARPA.
Yes, ma'am, I will be here on that. I gave Mr. Barton a paper on that, and I also gave him a paper for the
$5,500
workshop.
is what you're asking for.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you taken care of.
Yeah, we'll.
Madam Chair, I spoke with Mr. Bartley earlier today, and I'd sent out a message to you guys with ARPA. We're hoping to get a workshop scheduled, late January, hopefully, on that. But in the meantime, where they do have some needs, I would like to make the recommendation that we advance their quarterly payment that'll normally go out the end of January to go and get that out for them right now. And then after the meeting, then we do an ARPA request on that.
Madam Chair, I'm gonna make that motion that we advance the Hayside Rescue Squad.
I'll second it.
Quarterly payment.
I'm gonna tell you something, I've been there 30 years this past month. And in the 30 years, this is the first time I've had to ask you for that advancement of our funds.
We're living in there's a lot of sick people, I tell you that right now.
I agree. My electric bill for this month is almost $1,000.
You're kidding.
No.
Any word on the new vehicle?
The only word I got was they still ain't got one.
Okay.
I had to change from a Dodge to a Ford, and they're still waiting on delivery on it. So, maybe 6 months or a year yet. But, thanks to you all, it is on order. And I gave Mr. Barton a new paper there for the ARPA funds for another Lucas. The one we have, the battery has finally died on it, and we're gonna have to buy the battery. That's, I believe it was almost $800, $770 some dollars, something like that. But I've asked for another Lucas for the other truck. Maybe out of the funds for
You got
January,
$800,
whenever.
says Lucas battery.
On Lucas, Terry's that guy,
It's a CPR machine,
I know what it is.
yeah.
Is there, you want it for what, the new truck?
Well, either the new truck or the other truck that I'm running right
I
now.
got it.
I only
So-
have one.
Oh, so you need another one.
I need another.
understand. I just
only
wanted to
have one.
clarify.
If we have two calls
Yeah, I
and
agree.
got two crews, one of us has to do manual CPR.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard. And if, if I'm the one without the Lucas, I can't do my LS stuff that I need to be doing.
Okay, when we set our ARPA workshop,
I will be there.
we will, take this up and take consideration. But I think your advancement is $6,250.
Yes, ma'am.
Is what you get every quarter.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
we will go ahead and advance it. Well, I better not say we will. We got to move in second, call for a vote. But that's been the motion, and the second is to advance you your $6,250 third quarter payment. Instead of waiting
understand,
until
Ms. Kay.
January, that we could do that ahead of
I
time.
appreciate that.
And with that being said, with the move in second, if there's no other comment, all in favor, please say aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay, passed.
All
We'll
right.
get you your check.
One more thing before I sit
Okay.
down. On that battery for the other Lucas, I know Grace said that Josh and Ron, last time I talked to her, that they might be able to help us out of their funds on that. I'd like to go ahead and order that this week, because the one we got won't last long enough to.
And that's $5,000?
No, it was a little less than $800.
Okay,
$700 and I believe $74, $78, something like that was the exact price on it.
okay, that, I wanted to clarify, okay.
I do need to get that. That EMT class that I paid for, it had to be paid for by last Tuesday, or last Monday. So I went ahead and paid for it.
Okay?
All right.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate you all, and I want to thank every one of you for everything you've done over the years. Some of you have been here a lot longer, and I know a lot better, but, I've never been turned down by the board for help. If they could help us at all, they would try.
Yeah, we try.
Well, I appreciate that.
We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Terry.
Terry.
Thank you for coming out. Item C on the agenda under the heading 6 of presentations is Cassie McAmus with mapping.
Two pages, but it's flip flop.
Cassie, I asked that this be put on here for an update, because I'm getting a lot of questions about why we aren't up with Wise County, why we aren't up till they can look at us, as that gentleman that just spoke said. I'm getting called, 'cause I work with a lot of realtors and they're calling, and other people in the communities ask me, when are we gonna get up and going? And I didn't realize we had paid out as much as we paid out until I asked
You can't
Larry.
expect us to be as good as Wise County, because we're in the dark ages compared to Wise County. They got how many people working there in in mapping?
They had 5, and then
Yeah,
Arnold
look.
took a leave of absence and then passed away, so they're down to 4 that I'm aware
How many is
of.
it by Buchanan?
Their mapping department was revamped, and they have hired out to have all their mapping done right now. They
Can't
have
compare Dickinson County with Wise and Buchanan County, because we're
You're
in the
comparing,
dark
we're
ages.
comparing what we
I
paid for,
think,
Rhonda.
first of all, I need to clarify my
Okay.
position. Yes, I am an employee of the sheriff's office, and as you all are aware, I am a county-funded position at the sheriff's office. However, my job, I was hired to do 911 mapping, solely, because that's what our GIS department was made up of, was solely 911 mapping, which in turn, that is, of course, state mandated for us to have 911 up and running and in the county. So my primary job is to do the 911 mapping, to have us online, up and running with up-to-date 911 addresses for us to be compliant with the state for it to even work. I work daily on the updates for the new conversion to NG 911 with AT&T that will come online within probably the next year. We have to be at 98% correct in all of our data, and as of the last pull down, we were 98.92%. So, you know, that's my primary job, making sure that everyone has a 911 address, they are valid. When someone calls 911, it geo-references to the map, they are located, our dispatch can find them and then send emergency responders to them. I have to update an MSAG, which is a Master Street Addressing Guide, which pinpoints each 911 address on the map to make sure that when someone calls, that it will validate within the system. Then I also handle all the road signs, which are in progress of being put up. I sent Dusty out with 21 last week, and he has most of those up from what I talked with him today.
Mine's still in the ditch line that I called about.
And I'm aware we still have numerous signs in the ditch line, numerous signs down. He has those ready to repair. Which one are you?
The one that goes around
Rachel's Chapel, yes, that one is in the works to be put up. You know, so that's my primary job. GIS department is completely separate from what 911 is about and what my job is.
But you came and
Yes, I
presented
did.
us this
I absolutely did.
spiel that we paid for,
Yes.
that we were going to get up and going, and
I
that you
absolutely
could
did.
go on the online
You
and look
absolutely
at the
can.
houses and all that.
And
So that's
we
the
are,
question that we want.
yes, and we are online. Anybody in this county can go to the county website and click on Maps and GIS, and it will pull out all of our 911 data. The only thing that it will not pull is the parcel data, because it is not ready to go live. And frankly, I don't know when it will be available to go live, because there are so many inconsistencies that are still there. If you look at the report from Hurt and Profit, which is the company that we hired, they have been working diligently since we contracted with them. You can see on that first page, this is what they went from. This is the examples that they pulled from the commissioner's office that were sent to them in PDF format. These are from the 1980s when the Pearson Group hand drew them. So when you're talking about 1980 to 2022.
I can tell you, I worked with those maps and they're about 90 to 95% accurate.
And I hate to dispute what you're saying, but that is not accurate. Because when we transferred, there was only 60% of the county that was accurate. And that was with the Nature Conservancy files, the county files that Lehman had done. All of the personal property is where the issues are coming into play at. The lines aren't matching up, things have been split, parcels have been redone, and we have numerous parcels within the county that have no data whatsoever because it didn't match up with what came from the commissioner's office files in the tax book. Now, that is a simple fix once they get in and find those areas and, counteract what is in the clerk's office, which is where they are in the process. And if you take a second to look at the report, it goes through and tells you where they started in March of 21. And then they took the tax parcel data from the clerk's office. Richard and Cora June and I worked to get Hurt and Profit access to the SRA system so they could log in and look up the deeds and the plats. What they're finding, some of the issues, and it goes in to tell you what some of the current issues are on that last page. Some of the current issues that they're having are that the deeds and plats don't have enough information for them to pinpoint and draw the lines correctly. And that is why it is taking a little bit longer. Like I said, you can't go from 1980 to 2020 and not expect there to be a huge lapse of information. So they're working diligently to pull the plats and stuff that have been surveyed and put on file since that time, so they can put those in. Subdivisions and things like that that have been created, those are done. They provided me with an updated GIS database about a week and a half ago that was sent on to Pearson's, with whom I'm assuming has the contract to do the reassessment through the commissioner's office. So one of the other issues that we have is the fact that they have to be provided information from the commissioner's office. We had the meeting back, I don't know, it's been months ago. It was with Larry, myself, Lehman, the commissioner's office, and the clerk's office. And we all agreed that we weren't going to release the information when it came out because there were so many inconsistencies. Now, some people do have access to that, and they have been able to look and see that their own property lines don't match up. And my property lines don't match up. And our property has been split between myself, my daughter, my dad, my whatever cousin he is that lives on the hill. So it's been split 4 or 5 times, so those lines have not been updated. Those are the things that we have to improve. And frankly, I never felt comfortable in releasing it. Larry didn't feel comfortable. The girls in the commissioner's office didn't. Mike said no, and Richard said no as well. So that's why it hasn't been released to the public. If you all vote and want it released to the public, I'm totally cool with that. We can do that. But I guarantee you, you're going to get 1,000 or more calls from the general public when they go and they try to identify their property and it's not right. And all of those calls are going to go to the commissioner's office, which in turn are going to come to me, which is another problem that I have. And if we're being honest about issues with GIS, I'm just a liaison between Hurt and Profit and the county. Yes, it was my idea to do this. I brought this to the board 15 years ago when I was in mapping before, and it was turned down because I said we needed parcel mapping. Now that we're in the process, like I said, I'm a liaison, strictly.
Cassie, can citizens go somewhere and look and see where their property is yet? if
They
wanted to?
absolutely, they can go to the commissioner's office anytime and pull the maps from the commissioner's office because that's exactly what's on GIS.
They can't go look at it in GIS.
No, because we've not released it.
I know, but can someone show it to them in GIS?
Yeah, they can come to my office and see it, and the
Okay.
commissioner's office is well aware of that and sends everybody to my office.
I'm asking this because I know I did survey one of my properties and I did record it.
And if it's been recorded, they're about 65% through the list, and it does take time.
No, I understand.
And, I know we've spent the money, but in a locality as small as ours, and you have one mapping person who isn't a GIS mapping person, I'm a 911 mapping person, I can't handle it. And I was very upfront and honest when I came to you all with this project and asked for the money to get this started to help with the economic development in the county, and I told you I didn't know anything about parcel mapping. And I know very little more than I did then. So, I'm not claiming to know everything there is. I do know the 911 mapping, I know what it takes to get that done, and I do my job. No questions asked. But the issue is parcel mapping takes time. It's never complete. It will never be 100% complete. Wise County's not, nor will they ever be. And frankly, you can't compare us to other counties because they're 20 years ahead of us, and we're sitting in 2022. They've had their stuff online for years, but they've also had the money and the people to do it. But Buchanan County hires theirs out, Washington County hires theirs out, and that's exactly what we did because we don't have the people to do it. And it's cheaper to hire it out than to hire a GIS department and have to pay them a salary, roughly starting out $35,000, $40,000, which is lowballing it. And then you pay benefits on top of that.
And then they leave.
Because it's too much for one person to handle. So that's why you hire it out and pay someone else that has the experience and the knowledge to do it. It's just going to take time.
I just think it's a slow process.
Well, you can't take a whole entire county that has never had anything in GIS and expect it not to take a long time.
So it takes your whole entire day just to keep up the 911 mapping? Is that what you're saying?
It doesn't take a whole entire day, but I do updates throughout the day, and I am in dispatch, making sure that when I pull dispatch maps down, that they're still able to utilize something. And I have 3 databases that I log into every day, and I'm doing updates. If a road changes, a new address goes in, I have to log into all 3 of those databases, and all 3 of those have to be updated. So,
Well, I know when I worked at the health department, before you could get, before we drew up a permit, you had to have a tax map ID number. And it was very hard. Some of them didn't have a tax map ID number.
and some of them still don't have tax IDs.
But we had a GPS, very, what do they call them,
Trembles.
Trembles, yeah, which is very precise. And I assume they're doing that now with their septic systems, you know, precisely.
They should be.
Where they're at. But like Mr., who's the real estate realtor, where's he?
Brett.
Brett. I'm sorry. If nobody lives on a parcel of land, then you're not gonna have.
There's no address.
Pardon me?
That's what you run into.
Yeah.
You can get a parcel ID.
The
and then,
parcel ID
you know,
comes
the
from
map
the
that
card
we
number.
are, referencing in the, Commissioner of Revenue's office, they're useless to locate that property. In that we have-
There's multiple failures in this.
Yeah, I mean, we've got.
Because
this
one
people
thing
out
is,
here-
folks aren't required to get a survey when land transacts. And that's the only way you're gonna resolve this in the future.
Well, the health department did require, part of their application was that you had to have the land surveyed. But you can have an exemption from that if you have a certain income. Is that right, Brett?
Yes.
Is that still the way it is?
What I run into is, let's say you get the phone call from somebody in North Carolina that wants to sell the land that has been handed down to them from their grandparents that they've never been on. And I can show you that, you know, that's parcel number 24683 according to the county. And sometimes we can find that in the commissioner's office, sometimes we can't. But even if we do find it on those tax maps, there's nothing in reference on that little piece of paper that you got on that aerial photo to give you directions and the comfort of knowing that that's where you're going to that property and actually be able to convey that to somebody else as being that actual property.
Can you give a hypothetical of a call you'll get?
Oh, yeah, I mean.
So like, give me an example of how that works. How will they know that there's a prospective piece of property that they were?
Because they pay taxes on it. So
That-
I can have somebody that'll call and they have a tax card.
From somebody they know or
They
something?
have a tax number, yeah.
They've inherited the property.
Exactly, we've got, you know, grandpa's 15 acres, we've never been there, it was handed down to my dad.
And they wanna sell it or whatever.
And I wanna sell it because I'm paying $150 a year in taxes. I'm not really, you know, worried about how much I get for it as much as I wanna release the tax liability, can you help me? No, I can't, because I can't find the property.
I see.
That's where we're talking about, my level, and what I'm preaching on GIS is if you get a phone call of somebody looking to, I would like to have 100 acres to develop. I don't have the resource to look throughout the county to find that 100 acres, know who owns it, be semi-comfortable with where the boundaries are, to locate that property to, you know, give this guy an opportunity to maybe develop that property, you know, buy it and develop it. Versus, you know, we're talking Wise County, Buchanan, Russell, Lee.
So-
You have that.
Tell me how, like, what, if the same scenario happens in Wise County, what are you able to do with their system?
And then I can go right on their Eagle with GIS, I can click on that piece of property.
So you can type in parcel number 95,
Yeah, it'll pull
Yeah,
up their houses, you can look at
and
their
you can
houses
see a
and
road
everything on
and
it.
where it's on 611 or it's whatever.
Exactly.
Because they have it overlaid with their,
It's a Google overlay.
yeah.
The problem is, it goes back to, you gotta have surveys. A lot of the old surveys weren't done right.
Yes, you have
There are a lot of
surveys
folks,
unmatched.
and I ran into this when I did mine.
True.
I went and got mine recorded, but I also ran into some people who said, yeah, I did that, but I didn't get mine recorded because
Well,
the new survey said I own more land than what's in the commissioner's office, and they don't want to pay the
well, the
tax.
bottom line here is, you know,
It's not
money.
fixed, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yes,
is
it
this a
is.
priority and do we want to pay for it? And so, I mean, I'm not,
We've already paid $72,000.
But
How much more time have we got with Hurt and Profit for that 72?
There is still probably, he did not give me an exact number. That was one of the things that I asked for, and I did not receive that. But I can get on the phone with him first thing in the morning and get that for you.
Okay, I looked up the minutes, and June the 29th of 21 is when I guess we voted to give that 45,000 for 3 years. So is that, so we've done used a year and a half of that?
Probably,
From
yes.
June of 21 to 22, now here it is December. So of this one contract, we may have 18 months left, right?
So are they
Cassie?
65%?
They're 65% through what they pulled, the 300 and some pages that they pulled from the clerk's office.
How
There's
many
65
pages are there?
There is
It's way up right
600, well, they were on page
Page
like
670.
617, so there's 671 pages, so they're 65% through that. So 60-some pages left.
That would be
I can't
more
do
than
math, so.
65%.
you have to forgive, I think, probably all of us for kind of being naive on this. I certainly would acknowledge mine. But when this is done, and I know we voted to pay it, and I guess I had a sort of semi-picture in my mind when we voted to approve it, will Dickinson County have the ability to do what Mr. Tiller is referencing once
Yes.
this is done?
Yes,
Okay.
because, and it,
I mean,
say
something maybe
yes.
not perfect, but something
Right,
close to it.
right.
Well, that's kind of where
I mean,
my.
it's not going to be Wise County level when
But
they
we
get
can
through
build on it
everything.
though. I mean, once they
Yes,
establish it.
It's an ongoing thing that has to be worked on all the time.
Isn't that more than 64%?
I'm
Or
sure it is,
65,
Rhonda.
Cassie, if there's 671 pages,
Mm-hmm.
they're up to 617?
Well, I mean, I apologize. They're 65% of the way through the list. That is a
Oh,
current issue that they're having. Like, that's where they're talking about the plats and stuff don't go along with everything. So just ignore what I said there. I apologize.
Let me ask something for clarification. Can Hurt Profit really get there with the data we have?
Probably
Well,
can't.
I'm Ron, I'm
Well,
not,
we need to know that.
but I'm not
because-
being argumentative, but Wise County, I would bet that less than 20% of real estate transactions have any kind of survey in Dickinson or Wise County. You know why? Because it's really expensive. So they don't have any more surveys than we do in the clerk's office.
Right.
Maybe
mean,
not, maybe not.
I know they don't.
The survey,
I'm not doubting that,
I
but
don't-
I'm asking this question,
Any
not
of
to
y'all
point
want to
at
pull up some
her.
of
I'm just
Wise
asking the
County's,
end game.
Well, I agree. I'm just pointing out to you that I don't know that
Somebody
that's
you
the
know in
answer.
Wise
That's
County.
not the
Well,
issue. The
yeah.
issue's not surveys, because, I mean, if you survey an acre, that's gonna be $5,000. People aren't doing that.
Wise County, I guess.
I mean,
To answer your question, Ron, yes, they can get there.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
But it won't be to the level of
There won't be,
everyone's
there'll still be
satisfaction.
inaccuracies. And
Right, there's
yeah.
always gonna be inconsistencies in the mapping because that's just the way that it is.
But you have that even,
And-
I mean, I'm dealing with one in Buchanan County
Exactly.
right now that was mapped and
Carol,
there's
I
supposed to be
think she
two parcels,
does.
but those parcels wasn't mapped. There's always gonna be a problem.
Yes. And,
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking the question, not to poke at you,
right, I understand.
I'm asking the question is there something we need to be working on, policy or something like that? That
I
we
think-
get there eventually someday.
I think that there just needs to be understanding and communication between departments, that everybody is on the same page and they know that this is what I have, this is what the commissioner's office has, this is what the clerk's office has and is providing to Hurt and Profit. And then every so often, the commissioner's office provides them with an updated tax record or tax book, because that's where things have been split and things have been, sold and things have to be updated. I don't have that information. I cannot provide that to them. That sits in the commissioner's office.
The other question I would have is, do they have the ability, and whether they would be cooperative or not, to gather data from some of the industry? Because the gas well folks have a lot of data too on this.
Everything, I mean, they can, yes. And they have resources available to them where they can obtain that information.
Yeah.
We have provided them with, I mean, all of the Nature Conservancy properties, all of the county properties that we had mapped, that Lehman has mapped, that we know are 100%. And that included, was like 63% of the county. So we know that that part is done. It's the other 30-some% of the personal properties and private landowners that we have to nail down. And it's, like I said, it's just gonna take time.
Well, and the reason I ask that is because like in a lot of these private owners, I have property like this, the gas well people are all over it. They know what's where.
Yeah, yeah.
They've done surveys and stuff.
And so, I mean, it's just a matter of letting them get through everything that they possibly can get through in the clerk's office and see where we are at that point, and then work on the trouble areas that we have. And I mean, that's exactly what we discussed in all the meetings that we've had thus far. So, and like I said, when I brought this to the county, it wasn't for me to be the one to spearhead it and me to keep it up. It was solely to hire someone out to do that, like other counties do, to save the county money.
So how many of them work daily on this?
They have, I don't know how many people are.
You don't know how many people they
I mean,
use?
I don't know how many people they employ.
Well, I'm just gonna look.
I mean,
And,
you don't know how many
I
people
know
are working
that-
on Dickinson County.
No, I mean, why would I know that? I mean, Brian Powell is the project manager, and they probably have 4 or 5 people that are working solely on us, but they also have other responsibilities to other counties and other projects. So they split their time based on the funds that they have available from us. So they work on it when they're able to. I mean, and that's the way the contract
Well, I
read.
would assume that if we hired them for 3 years, that somebody would be working on ours constantly,
Well, I mean,
every
you-
day, for 3 years.
I mean, I will call and get that information and find out how many people they have and how many hours a day or how many hours a week they are working on
They
that.
are working on Dickinson County, that's what
Yeah.
I want to know.
Because, I mean, that's something that I cannot answer.
They're from Lynchburg.
But, I mean, yes, they are. And they work from Lynchburg down. But they also, one of the other projects that we have in mind, we're gonna start with the PSA, and get the PSA online. Part of that is through the Esri user agreement that we have, which will allow us to have up to so many users where we can assign 4 or 5 guys or women, whoever in the PSA office. They can go out and obtain the information that they want on the maps, sewer lines, water lines, meters, which will help with their smoke testing. I mean, GIS can analyze a lot of things. It can give you a lot of information that we need, but there has to be people to do that. And I am one person, and I cannot do it all. So that's why we are working with Hurt and Profit. We have the user agreement where we can pull our resources that are in the county where people know where things are and they can get that stuff mapped. I can put it in and send it to Hurt and Profit. That's the process. Because there's no way that one person can handle everything. And I'm not asking for help. I'm not asking you all to hire a GIS department by any means. This is the most fiscal and best financial plan that you can have to keep from spending out hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary and benefits. So, I mean, I know, Shelby, you're the one that asked for me to be here. Do you have any other
I had
questions?
some questions that.
Okay, go ahead.
That's what I want to know. How much time are they spending on this?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I thought you were in the mapping. That's what I thought you was
No.
doing.
No, I do
And,
911 is it.
but you work on the 911 mapping your entire 8 hours that you work.
I mean, does anybody do one sole thing every day for 8 hours straight? And I'm going to be honest, no, I do not. I don't spend 8 hours every day for 40 hours working solely on mapping. I mean, if you want me to lay out my days for you, I can.
No, I just want to know, and I get questions all the time from
I'm sure you do.
people wanting to know when are we going to get up and going till they can go online and look at property.
I'm sure you do, and I get those same questions. I get phone calls and people walking into my office every day. I had 3 phone calls last week. I had 2 people in my office on Friday. I had 4 phone calls that I had to return today that most of the time, all of their messages say the exact same thing. I'm calling, I've been to the commissioner's office. They say they cannot help me, they cannot find my property. Here's the name to the woman that you need to talk to, or here's where her office is, you need to go see her. I house the information that Hurt and Profit transferred from the commissioner's office to GIS. That is it. I know nothing about identifying property, but I guarantee you, by the time I hang up the phone or they leave my office, they have something in their hand. I'm not turning them away, and I'm not doing my job. So if that is a
No,
question.
that's not what the
Well, I mean,
question
I'm
was.
just saying, if that's a question
No.
in anyone's mind, that me not spending 8 hours a day solely on mapping, my mapping is complete. I'm 98.92% for 911, which is state mandated. Our 911 system works, it runs, and is updated regularly. That's what I was hired to do.
Got another question.
Yes.
So they're working this, and I think what I'm getting out of this is we need to talk to Hurt Profit. And, I guess the other question, and this may be something for you to look at, are they communicating with the neighbors to at least get our boundaries intact? 'Cause, you know, 'cause you
Well, I
said,
mean,
Buchanan, you said contracted it out?
Do what?
You said Buchanan is revamping or what?
I don't know. I don't know what Buchanan County is doing with their parcels. I know that their 911 mapping is, they are having someone help with that.
Okay.
It's the
gotcha.
regional 911.
Well, the
mapping.
reason I'm asking, because I've seen several situations in my time here where property lines were muddied with Buchanan County, and I'm sure
Yes.
it's in other areas of the county.
And
too.
we had numerous 911 boundary issues, and those are all resolved now.
I ran into one in specific with your predecessor. And I couldn't
Matt
get him
or
to go
Danny?
look at it, so I went and looked, and then I went back and showed him he was wrong. It's this house, and they are Dickinson County.
Yeah.
Yes, is it possible that, Hurt and Profit could send someone to talk to us about where they are and how much longer that we can expect?
I can have, I mean, I don't know about them physically coming here. I'm sure Brian would be more than welcome to. We can set up Zoom meetings, Microsoft Team meetings. He and I talk regularly on the phone, text, and email. You know, we have a very good working relationship. So you let me know when you want to speak with him or when everybody can get together, and I'll see what he can make happen.
That's probably a good idea.
When people does have a survey that, and they have the diagram drawn out from pin to pin and point, and they file that with their deed in that, is that beneficial to Hurt and Profit and
It's-
to you?
What they're going
That
to the
is,
clerk's office for?
that's what absolutely needs to happen in every situation, because they can take the plat and with the boundaries and the calls, they type those in and it automatically draws it for them. And it's done. And then all they do,
Surveys are so antiquated
They are.
that this tree don't exist, it used to back when.
Well,
exactly.
and-
Well, I mean, the iron
Mr.
post,
Ratliff used to do
the iron
surveys.
post in the ground may have rusted completely out
That's
and may
right.
not be able to be
It's
located.
worse than that.
You
In
know,
some cases, people
The baby
turned in-
gum tree may have never, become an
In
adult.
some cases, like with mine, the previous owner lied about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he went over on his sister and brother's place, and I could see it was wrong, so I did hire
And
somebody.
that's the issue that they have, is there's not enough, I mean, they can take a deed and they read deeds all day long when they're working on parcel mapping. Some deeds are very detailed and they have calls and things and such in them that they can plot things from. Our deeds don't have that.
No, but the big
Ours
thing,
are from this gum tree to this baby sapling to the iron post that my
Some
grandpa,
of 'em has,
nailed
but
in, that's
of 'em
the
don't.
way our deeds read.
well, and I had the same kind of deed, but
Some
where it
do,
runs,
but
where
most
you
of 'em
notice the
don't.
big
Well, I had 10
problem
acre
is you
survey,
go
but
and
they
pull
had
your
all
neighbor's
kinds of
deeds,
points.
and you start comparing them and you see different call-outs being listed, you know someone did something dirty, and that's what
And
happens.
that's the additional thing is when your neighbor has a survey on hand. If you have calls on the other side of your property from another neighbor, they can fence yours in. They can draw yours in from those two plats.
Yeah,
And then they're done.
Yeah.
It may not be 100% accurate, but it's something to go by until that property either gets surveyed or is combined with the other two. So, you know, I mean, it's an ongoing thing. But I mean, if you all want to vote to put up what we have now, I'll hit send. I mean,
I
it's
only
as
asked
easy as
that because I'm curious on the
Yeah.
one I did survey, and I did the right thing, I recorded
Why
it
would,
and all
why
that.
do we not put it up now?
They don't feel like it's accurate.
You don't think it's accurate?
I mean, I think Larry can speak more professionally about that than I can. I mean, he has seen it, and go ahead,
There's
Larry.
a lot of inaccuracies, and I think once we put it out there, you're gonna have a lot of questions from citizens, a lot of phone calls and stuff, and it's gonna take a lot of unnecessary time rather than.
No, I don't wanna
until we
release
get
it
the-
We
till-
can't
No,
have
I don't
an
think that'd be
answer.
wise at all,
Answer.
until we get this.
Yeah, I wasn't
data we're
pushing
trying
for
to
that
gather,
either.
put in.
I'm just wanting to look at mine just to see
I've
what.
got it, I
You
can
just
share
went
with you
awful
what trustees
slow.
come by my office.
To get it done. I mean, to me,
The way that Lehman explained it to me when we first started talking about this 15 years ago, to draw one parcel and get it accurate, it takes hours for one parcel. Because you have to put in the calls, and he works in CAD, which is completely separate from what GIS is. But it's still a tedious process, and it's not easy. So where
No,
you
I
have
work CAD.
1 acre parcel of land, that's gonna take probably an hour, maybe 30 minutes, as opposed to an entire subdivision, which could take up to 8 hours.
when I came to work in 1980, I did them with a tractor.
Well,
And that was for tractors.
I know that's how it was done then, but I mean, like Brett said, for anybody to say, you know, hey, I would love to locate a business here and I need 150 acres, we can't offer that them. I mean, we can't. We don't have anything, we don't have the capability to do that. Dana is having those issues. You know, I mean, this is the sole purpose for parcel mapping, is to promote the county, to bring us up to where we need to be. I mean, I moved away and came back, and, you know, I plan to live out my days here, but I want us to be able to have something in the future. I want my children and my grandchild to have something in the future. And if we don't do this, and we don't allow it to take time, they're not gonna have anything.
Well, I think Shelby made a good point. We need to ask Hurt and Profit to come and give us the,
Just to give us a
And,
report
I mean,
of
this
their
is
progress.
just an
And
update.
then like
they
a sample,
anticipate.
It was me that said-
like a sample of what
they're doing.
what it'll be.
And
like-
anytime
it's
that
done.
you all want to see where it is now, or you want to look at it, I have it online. It's not open to the public, but I can send you a link, and you can look at it at your leisure.
Does this
And if
help
you
you,
want, I'll
Brad?
email it to each individual in the morning.
Can you go to her and, does it help you? I know. what-
Yes, no, I mean, I've looked at it, but it's nowhere near where we need to be now.
Yeah, it won't be.
And I don't think that anybody reasonably expects that we'll be where we need to be 6 months from now, a year from now.
No.
And $72,000 or whatever we spent isn't gonna get there either, I'm certain. But where we do have to be as a citizen, not as a realtor out here trying to sell it, but to be able to offer, you know, potential investors or potential developers, or even new citizens that are wanting to come and build a house and be a taxpayer in this county, we have to have the capability to know what's available.
Oh, we just can't, we gotta pursue it.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'll echo on this. What we hear a lot on the economic development side, we had several meetings to Vicita with some site selectors last year. We done some virtual call trips. And a lot of these site selectors, if they've got someone wanting to locate in a certain area, they'll pull up the county, you know, look at the website, get onto their GIS. You know, if the website isn't good, you don't have a GIS, they don't bother picking up the phone and calling, they just move
Yeah.
on.
Which is why we're doing
Sometimes they
this
don't even give you
branding, all this branding
consideration,
work.
right?
Yep, I agree.
And that's what I see, and I go back to that, you know, 10, 20, 30 acre tract that You know, they'd like to sell at grandpa's that I can't locate, so I can't sell. You know, that could be a house, that could be 2 houses, it could be 3 houses, it could be a gas station. It's not gonna be anything if we don't know where it is and what we have.
And one of the other major issues is when the treasurer's office has the land sales for people with unpaid taxes.
That's what I was
Those
just wondering.
properties are, a lot of those properties are not mapped. They're marked in the tax books as NM, which means not mapped, and they're sent to me. Well, there's nothing that I can do to locate that property for them. You know, they can have an idea of where it is. They bring me their deed, I'll look at it. If something clicks and I can identify something, I'll try and help them. But, I mean, I very rarely ever send anybody away that doesn't have something in their hand to go by. So, I mean, and that's really all that I can do at this point until we have something workable and usable.
Yep, sorry.
So, and, you know, when we signed the contract and you guys appropriated the funds, you know, we talked about how it was an ongoing thing and to appropriate money each quarter, you know, to work through this project. And if that's something you're willing to continue, then this project will go on.
I
If
know
not,
once they got it up, we were supposed to pay so much for the upkeep of it.
yep,
And it was like $2 a parcel and then.
something like that, yeah.
And then they upped that figure.
Once they got in and saw what they were gonna be
Yeah,
working with,
Yeah, they upped that figure, yeah.
yeah. So,
But I just think we need to talk to them to see where we're at and what they have used the money for.
I can arrange that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And the reason I asked you is because you're the one come here and
Sure, yeah.
sold us
Yep,
this.
I agree 100%. I'm the culprit for that.
Yeah, you was.
So,
So I thought you were.
just trying to better the county, Shelby.
I
That's
thought you
it.
worked with them.
I do work with them, but just as a liaison to get us to where we need to be.
Okay.
Because I have the GIS software.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yes.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Pam.
Thanks.
And Cassie, I wasn't upset or anything. I just had some
I
questions.
understand. No problem.
Well,
Okay,
we learned something.
moving on to item number 7,
Well,
which
we
is
are-
old business.
Orange.
The first one on there is appointments to the Behavioral Health Board. In our packet, only one is highlighted, which is the at-large
yours.
appointment of Bobby Hammonds, but the Irvington District appointment of Kathy Harrison is also
I saw that.
to expire on the 31st day
Which
of this
one do you
month.
wanna take up first, Madam Chair?
We can do the at-large at first.
Madam Chair, I make a motion
Well, I'd like to make
reappoint Bobby Hammonds.
a nomination.
Wait just a minute.
Madam
Josh?
Chairman?
Just a minute. We have to have, it's the reason he's on there.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna tell Rhonda that you was speaking first.
I'm sorry,
That's
Regina.
That's
all
okay.
right. I just was making a motion that we reappoint Mr. Hammonds to this position.
I second that motion.
Well, I want to make a secondary motion. Is that what you call it?
Substitute
You
motion.
have-
Substitute
You
motion?
have to have someone on there that has used the program.
Oh,
We can't say that, but that's why.
I was going to say that, I was going to nominate somebody that I thought was a medical person, not.
Do you, Mr. Sturgill, are you aware of the qualifications?
Do you have to be,
or-
such? Do
I know
you
there
have
are
to
some
use the?
specialized
Mr. Mullins is here today. as well.
requirements.
Kevin
would
was
you like
here.
to
I saw
explain
him
that,
come
please?
in.
Mr. Mullins, I mean.
Kevin explained why, we have to have one person on the board
Has used behavior.
that has.
utilized behavioral health themselves or their family
families,
members
yes,
have utilized
that's
behavioral
right.
health.
Yeah.
So traditionally, our member at large,
Is
we
that
try to
person.
pick that person who has either utilized behavioral health services directly or has a family member. Now, luckily, right now, we do have a couple of members on our board that actually meet that qualification. But if they go off at the end of their tenure, then we would be stuck without one unless we reappointed from those individual district appointments. So from the district appointments, you each get an appointment for that. And then we have two members at large. I just ask you all to add Sheriff Fleming, I think last year, because it does actually say in code that it's recommended that the sheriff be allowed to be on the board. So I approached you all and asked if the sheriff could be in. So he's kind of an at-large, but he's specifically stated by code as being.
So technically, this person at large does not have to use behavioral health.
They have to. They
Or
need to
Somebody
have.
on the
They need
board
to have
has to
them or
be.
their family to be utilized. Have utilized
This person at
behavioral health.
large.
It's the person at large.
We use.
And again, currently, right now, we've got a couple of standing members that has that. But
So
once
that
those
doesn't-
members drop off, then there's an issue that we wouldn't have that no longer.
That
So
doesn't matter if you're saying that at large have to have use of the behavioral health.
they don't have to. We've utilized the member at large to fulfill that
Well, then
role.
why can't I nominate somebody that's not used to?
Well, you can't.
You can nominate whoever you want. I mean,
Well,
most
I
certainly.
just think I have nothing against Bobby Hammonds and all like that, but I would like to see some new people put on the board. And I have a person I think who's she's a nurse, she's a lawyer, and I would like to nominate her for that board.
And most certainly you can.
Well, so you nominated,
I want to do a substitute motion.
you're gonna do a substitute motion, okay?
And technically with nominations, you can nominate somebody and then you vote in the way that they were nominated.
So that's probably how we should do this one then.
Correct.
So we would need a second though to vote, right?
I
It's not
second,
Not
required.
technically, okay.
I
we have-
seconded
so we
your
have,
motion for Bobby.
Has she mentioned,
Yes,
who
I have
was
it
she
down.
nominating?
I want to nominate somebody, a substitute
Well, you-
motion.
But you were not, what he's
He's saying
saying,
just nominate them. Who are you
I'm
nominating?
nominating Chandra Johnson. She's a nurse and she's also a lawyer. I think she would be an asset to that board, and she certainly is knowledgeable.
I guess the question is, are there other nominations then?
Correct.
And then once the chair closes the nominations, then we'll vote.
Then does she have to have a second to her motion?
No.
She does not have to have a second to the nomination.
Okay.
And then we need a motion and a second to close nominations, and then once nominations are closed, they're voted in the order.
There's no
of the
others, I'll
nomination.
make a motion, we close nominations.
I second it.
Okay. We have a moving second on the floor to close the nominations for the behavioral health at-large appointment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay, and we do by the first motion, right? We have a motion and second on the floor for the first name of replacing Bobby Hammonds on that board.
Your motion was to, Josh, your
It was
motion
to
was to
reappoint Mr. Hammonds.
reappoint him.
To reappoint him, yes,
He is
okay,
eligible
ma'am.
for one more appointment.
yeah.
So I nominated Mr. Hammond.
And I had seconded.
Okay, do we do roll call vote on this so we can,
I think, yes.
okay. Okay, roll call vote. Mrs. Willis, how do you vote?
I vote for, yes, we're voting for Bobby Hammond.
We're voting on the first
I vote
nominee.
for Bobby Hammond.
Yeah, Bobby
yes.
Hammonds was the first.
Well, since I nominated Chandra, I don't have to say no, but I have nothing against Bobby Hammonds.
Okay, Mr. Peters, how you vote?
I'm gonna say no, cause I am, nothing against Bobby, but I think, yeah, I'll go no on that.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
I don't like tiebreaker ones.
Time to make a tough decision.
Put the pressure on your opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I just think we need some new
How many
person.
terms has he served?
He can serve one more term.
He's just served one time? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Mr.
one
Mullins,
three-year
could
term.
And he
guess-
currently serves as our treasurer on that
Okay.
board.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, it's your turn, but Mr. Hammonds he doesn't miss meetings, he is an active
He-
member,
He's an
right?
excellent board member. One of the things about,
And I didn't mean to interrupt you. Ms.
no,
Scott.
one of the
That's okay.
things
I'm
about
thinking I'm
Mr.
not
Hammonds
voting.
as being our treasurer is he's located in town, which Chandra would be as well, you know, if she come in and were to be put in as treasurer. But he's excellent because he actually has to show up and sign off on like the checks and the, the budget and those kind of things. So he makes trips to the agency roughly once a week in addition to the meetings. And he's been an excellent board member, and he is willing to serve again if the board chooses.
Okay.
He can only serve one more term, correct?
He can serve one more term, yes.
Okay, and it's nothing against Mrs. Johnson or anything, but I will go ahead and put my vote for yes for Mr. Hammonds. So that carries 3-2, right? So
Yep.
we don't go on to the other vote
Correct.
No.
on that. Okay, the other appointment for that is Kathy Harrison, that presently is in my Irvington district, and I have talked with her, and she is willing to serve one more time. She has only been there, this is her first appointment to that board, I think.
It is.
Is that your
and-
district appointment?
Yes, that's my
Okay.
district appointment. So I will make the nomination to replace her to reappoint her for another term.
Madam Chair, I
Kathy.
move that we cease nominations. Which I guess.
We did already.
On this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she can
Okay,
only make
perfect.
the
Yeah,
appointment
that's
for
what-
her this year.
Okay, does it need a second?
It's not required.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, and Josh has made the motion to cease nominations. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
I thought we said no already, we closed nominations.
I don't think we did. On this,
Not
on
on
this
this
one.
upcoming one. We did on the previous one.
Yeah, we did
Okay,
on the
This
previous
is a
one.
whole new one.
Oh, I got you, now I
This is
understand.
just a district appointment.
Okay, we have a moving second on the floor to cease nominations for the other appointment for
she did.
behavioral
We
health.
So
did
just
something,
put
don't
it
matter
one
what
of us,
it
it doesn't matter.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well.
Thank
Now,
y'all.
and do we need to vote then? We also need to go ahead and vote for her, don't we?
You do.
Okay. I have made the motion, or I have put the name out and,
Just voted for it.
for Kathy Harrison to serve another term on behavioral health. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a moving second to replace Kathy Harrison for another term on the behavioral health from the Irvington district. All in favor, please say aye. Aye as
Aye.
well.
Teresa's looking because you said replace, you mean keep her.
Well, I mean keep her,
Yeah,
sorry.
I just wanted to.
Down to number 2, Heart of Appalachia Board of Directors, and Austin Bradley has been serving since January 21, and his term ends. Do we have,
I make a motion, we reappoint him because he really attends those meetings.
I'll second it.
You don't need a second. I'll make a motion that nomination cease.
Second.
have a moving second for nominations to cease for the Heart of Appalachia of the Board of Directors? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye as well. And we have the nomination to reappoint Austin Bradley back to that board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Okay, we're moving on to item number 3, which under old business is the selection of the chairperson for next year of 2023. I would like to take this time to thank, I did not have full support from the board in December of last year to serve as your chair. I would like to say that I have tried my best. I have tried to be nice and polite. I've tried to keep the meetings going. I know I have not satisfied everybody, but I'm just here to do the best that I can. And,
Madam
So-
Chair, I
Okay.
nominate you to serve again.
oh, okay. Do we need seconds on that?
You don't. Just a call for any other nominations, and then if there's no other
I'd like to
nominations.
nominate Mr. Evans to serve as chairman.
I'd like to nominate myself too.
We do now.
Well, I make a motion that we cease nominations on
I'll
this,
second that.
because I sure don't want it.
I don't want to.
I did it and I don't like it. I did it 2 years and I don't like it.
Josh, did you second
I don't
that
like
to
I
cease
to
nomination?
close it, yes, ma'am, I
No
did.
Pressure.
All right, we have a move and second to cease nominations for chairman or chairperson for year 2023. All in favor, please say aye. Aye as well. Now, we need to vote on these as nominated, right?
Correct.
All right. Let me get me something started here. And my name come up first, then Josh's came up second, and Ron's came up third. So, we will do roll call vote. And I will start with Ms. Willis for myself as chair.
I vote no.
Okay, Rhonda?
I think you, Peggy, I think you have done a good job, and I'm very proud of you, but I'll have to vote no.
Okay. Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
No.
And myself, yes. So there's 3 noes and 2 yeses. The second name that came up was Mr. Evans. And Ms. Willis, how do you vote?
Do what now?
How do you vote, for Josh or not?
As I told Mr. Trish, I vote yes for Josh.
Ms. Sluss, how do you
I'll
vote?
vote yes for Josh because I think he's been a leader this past year. He brought forth the, I thought he was instrumental in getting us that, with the health wagon and several other things. And although sometimes I think that we need to understand it takes 3 votes to get anything
do
done.
anything.
Right, not one person should be taking credit or whatever. I mean, it takes 3 votes, and also, I appreciate Josh. My sister was in the hospital a week ago, very sick, and I almost got thrown out of the hospital because no doctor had touched her for 48 hours, and I was upset. And he called me and he said, "I'll be your lawyer." And let me speak to the person in charge, and I thought that was very kind of him to do that. But also, he's young, he can talk, and
I think you really
I think that I will vote for Josh. But although I love Peggy and I think she's done a good job, I have nothing personally. I think she's done a good job, but I will vote for Josh. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Peters, how you vote?
No.
Mr. Evans, how you vote?
Yes.
And I vote no. So that vote is 3-2.
It's done.
So that's the winning, and we don't go on to the third, right?
Correct.
Okay. Item 4 is the selection for vice chair for 2023.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Peggy Kaiser as vice chairman for 23.
I will second that.
You
No,
don't have
we're
to.
doing nominations.
Oh, you don't have to second, that's right.
I would
You
like
can
to
second
see
it, it's
Mr.
not
Peters
required.
have the opportunity to be
I
vice
said you
chair.
can second, it's not required though.
No. Okay, so I'll
I'm
nominate
gonna
myself.
nominate Mr. Peters for vice chair. He's done it before, he does a good job too.
Okay? Any other nominations, or are there a motion to cease nomination?
Move
Make a
we
motion,
seek.
we cease.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have moving second on the floor to cease nominations for vice chair. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Roll call vote again. For myself as vice chair again, Ms. Willis, how you vote?
I'm gonna vote no.
Ms. Sluss, how you vote?
Yes.
Ron, how do you vote?
I
Mr.
must say
Peters.
no, just nothing against you, Peggy.
I know.
Yeah.
Mr. Evans, how you vote?
Yes.
And I will vote for myself yes as well. So that is 3-2. Okay? I guess
May
that-
I say something just
Yes.
quickly, just to get over this, and we got a lot of other work to do here tonight, and
Where's Dana? She's sick.
this board has come a long way, from 3 years ago. We have accomplished a lot together. We have knocked heads a lot together, and I'm sure we will in the future. But we have a lot of optimism, and it's sort of hard until you get concrete and brick and mortar laying down for the public to understand that. But when it has come to the big ticket things, it seems like we've always been able to come together. Moving forward, we do have some important projects that we've got to go advocate for. I intend to do that and maybe eat crow on a couple of things, but I intend to try to advocate with our legislators for certain things for Dickinson County. And I hope to be and have a successful final year on this board. Now's not the time to sort of, and I'm not letting off the gas, but we've got to work together to get across the finish line on some stuff that we've really worked hard on. And my intent next year is for us to do that. So I appreciate what Rhonda said, and I reiterate that I think you've done an excellent job, Ms. Kaiser. So I just want to go and get that out of the way. Thank you.
So does that mean you'll be attending the legislative
If
in
my schedule, absolutely, I'm checking it, and
January?
I've already been talking to Larry about it, and so I'm going to do my best. I don't think Ms. Cronkite has the, I don't think she has the dates yet, so I'm going to obviously have court and all that, but I'm going to try to make it work.
January 31st?
31st, I think it is.
The
Yeah. And I
reception
think
is
it's
on the
very
31st,
important
yes,
that you
ma'am.
go and,
I got mine.
We're still working on the appointments and things,
I
getting
got
the
one
schedule
too.
itinerary
You
put
going?
together.
Oh, okay.
I think it's very important that Josh goes, and he's the future of Dickinson County, and he needs to know our legislators, he needs to know the governor, and he needs to know the other legislators. You know, I'm sort of peeved off at him a little bit right now because of my experience with the ballot, but nevertheless, I think you should go, and I think we should. I mean, as go as possible. I hope I'll be able to go. And I think Josh should go.
Let's get back to work.
Okay. Moving on to number 8, new business, health insurance renewal, and I will turn that over to Mr. Barton, our administrator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Of course, with our renewal that's coming up for January, Mr. Green, who we work with right now, he met with all involved. I know Mr. Mullins is in the room today, and we had other representatives on the call with our renewal. We've had a very good year this year, again, remarkably. But if you look at our current plan that we have right now, we're asking to renew with option 1, which would be changing our underwriter or spec coverage from Standard Life to American National, which doesn't change anything for the employee. It's just who covers the reinsurance portion of that. And it will reduce our annual premiums by about $280,000 by making that change over the current place that we are right now, and about $127,000 cheaper than the renewal with our current Standard Life. So I'll answer any questions anyone has on that, but again, a very good year. Mr. Green does a great job managing our plan for us. We have good coverage for our employees. That we have issues, sometimes we do, but Ms. Fuller goes to bat for the employee, works with Mr. Green's office, and gets those issues resolved.
What's your recommendation to do this
So you
renewal?
say it
Option
saved the
1.
county how much money?
About $280,000 from where we are right now.
Well, that's good.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the county administrator's recommendation and approve this renewal
I
as presented by
second that
Mr. Bard.
You said the Standard Life one?
Yeah, the option 1 on there, the American
Which,
National.
the end.
Oh, okay, that's what I
Option
American
one,
wanted
off
to
the top in
clarify.
green.
I
Will
see
Mr.
option
Green
now.
still be the representative for that?
Yeah, nothing changes. He just, what
Oh.
it is,
Yeah.
everything is the same with our insurance. It's just whenever we have a
Did you get a
large
second?
claim,
Shelby.
it's the underwriter that
Mrs.
covers those
Wills,
large
rather.
claims, so.
Oh, okay. We have a moving second on the floor to allow Mr. Barton to work our health insurance renewal, or the county's health insurance renewal, with option 1 of with American National. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to B, Cumberland Industrial Facility Authority, which is CIFA.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we just take no action on this. I don't know, I don't think we even need to vote on it. I don't anticipate anybody making a motion, and I just make a motion, we pass that.
Pass which one?
The
Number two, the
SIFA
SIFA.
appropriation. I mean, none of us want to make the appropriation. I certainly don't.
Well, yeah, I don't think we have to vote on it either if we're not gonna do it. And
I just say we
I'm
pass it.
dead set we shouldn't
Exit.
do it.
Okay,
just
so
say
we have,
Do we have to vote on it to not do it?
no, we're just gonna elect to pass on
No,
that
and-
and not do
And
no
for the
action.
record, they need a $30,000 appropriation in order to continue. That's what we done this past year
Yeah,
to
then
help
that's
fund the
forward.
salary of the Economic Development Director of SIFA. So,
Well, you should come to one meeting, all I'm.
Okay, moving on to item number C, which is the Watch for Children sign for the Kennedy District at West Dane Hollow Road. Mrs. Willis, do you want to make your presentation for that?
That there used to be one there and they don't know what happened to it and they requested that it be put back up and I gave Teresa the number and she got the information of where it has to be. She's got it marked and everything. So I make a motion that we request that through VDOT.
And do I hear a second?
I second it.
Moving second on the floor to submit the paperwork to VDOT for a Watch for Children sign to be put at West Dane Hollow Road in the Kennedy District. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to item number D, which is the Clinch Cove Fire Department property. Let's see, do you have notations on that? I don't know that
good, Madam Chair, if you let me take that one.
Yes.
With the Core 202 project that we're working, of course, Ms. Kaiser and Mr. Peters, along with myself, are the representatives that's been working with the Corps. We have a monthly meeting each month. At our December meeting, it was brought to our attention that there may be a conflict with the fact that the county owns the property and that the county is also the non-federal sponsor of this program. And so we would have to do a transfer of that property. But this morning, Audrey, our project manager, reached out to me and asked if I could join a call with Charlie Rhodes. He's our chief of real estate with Core, and they are asking right now we pass on that this month, not take any action. He wants to look into a couple of things to make sure that whenever we do this transfer, that everything is okay, and we don't have to come back and make another change with it. So we're gonna I recommend we pass on that until the January meeting, so.
Okay, item number D
Madam
is,
Chairman,
yes,
can I ask something?
yes.
Can I make a mention of, the citizen approached me, I should have asked for this to be put on the agenda, I'm sure, but the citizen approached me and he wanted to have the bridge down at Brick Flats named after Mark McCown. The Mark McCown Bridge, like we did Shelby, the Johnson. What process did we go through to do that, Shelby?
Went through VDOT.
I would like to see that
think we did.
done.
Do we have to add that to the agenda, to amend the
I don't
agenda?
know if we'd have to go through VDOT.
Is that
or
private
the
property?
town.
Official vote, we do. We'd need 2/3 vote to amend the agenda and then a vote to approve that application.
And then I have another, he made another request, but I think this is more of a school board decision, but he said he thought that since the football team had won the Mountain 7 District Football Championship, that there should be a sign placed somewhere on the ridge or somewhere to honor them and their achievement.
I think that would be a school board issue, in my opinion,
Yeah.
something on their property.
Well,
Well, I
depends
told him I
probably where
mentioned
you're
it, so
putting it,
I don't
though,
wanna
too.
tell,
If you're anywhere else you're dealing with VDOT and right away and trying to put up a sign, I think you're gonna have
well, I think
conflict with that.
he was referring to, he was wanting something like Clintwood has, but I looked at that was state championships.
Yeah.
That was all basket state champion, but I told him I would mention it, so I don't wanna keep my word, Mr. David, if you're listening.
And on, back to the request on the bridge, on that, I think, proper protocol, and Ms. Willis, you've done this much more than anybody else, but I think we would have to adopt a resolution to send to VDOT, and they would have to actually, at their meeting, adopt a resolution of the same in order to do that. So I think that we'd probably best to add
Put it
that
on
to
next month's
January
agenda.
meeting so that we can get all the proper paperwork drafted and everything that y'all would
We'll
pass
have-
in order to send that
All
on,
right.
so.
I don't think anybody would have anything against that anyway.
But we have to amend the agenda.
To me, we've got to adopt the resolution anyway,
We
making
don't
that
have a
request,
resolution.
and we don't have that drafted.
So just do it
tonight.
next month.
So
Next month.
we can do that next month.
Yeah.
What was the name again?
Mark McCowan, right?
McCowan, Mark.
Okay, got it.
The Brick
Okay.
Flats Bridge, is that where it is? That bridge goes across the Brick Flats?
Is that on private property
That's
or
what I
anything?
was wondering.
It's not, it's
I
a
don't think
town
it's that
property
maintained,
I
drain.
don't think it is either.
That bridge that goes to Brick
So we can
Flat.
probably just stick a sign on it.
You don't think the town owns it?
We own property once you cross the bridge,
My guess is we could just stick a sign on it if we, wanted to.
I'll reach out to VDOT. I'll talk to Joey and see.
I'd say VDOT
ownership
has
of that,
built
and
the
then-
bridge, wouldn't you think?
Well, I don't, it's a nice bridge.
They
I
have to
don't
get
know.
over there to the property.
Okay, under new business, we have passed on item D, so we'll be taking no action on that. And with the added item that Ms. Sluss was discussing will be held off and be an agenda item for our January meeting.
Yep.
Correct? Ready to move on to other business under number 9. And it's A is the adoption of the ordinance providing payment of monetary bonuses to the county employees, which was our public hearing item before our board meeting. Are there any discussion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the ordinance as written.
Madam Chair, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a moving second on the floor to adopt the ordinance providing payment of monetary bonuses to county employees. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay. Number B is the authorization of payments of invoices for the rest of the month after our meeting today.
It's a
I'll make a
standard
motion
ordinance.
that we
Normally, we've done
allow
this
them
each
to
year.
make the
Don't
payments.
really know the necessity
I'll
of
second.
it, but-
Mrs. Willis made the motion and Mr. Evans seconded. Do we have any other comment? If not, moving second on the floor to authorize payment of invoices throughout the rest of the month. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. And I think everybody said aye, so I'm not asking for any opposing. And number C is discussion of Christmas bonus, but was that not part of B?
Madam Chair, I'd ask
A?
specifically, I'll explain if I may, may I?
Yes,
I'd ask for this to be added to the agenda. If you remember, I believe it was in October that we had approved the salary increase for the sheriff's office. And not to revisit all that, just point out that that was not a spontaneous thing that was brought forth. I actually brought that forth then. We had budgeted that out. There had been concessions made by Sheriff Fleming to sacrifice a position. We had done the math with the casino money and had that and I'm, again, not trying to argue or bicker about it, but we had that planned out and funded. We approved what, in my mind, was needed for our law enforcement officers to help stop the bleeding of exodus for higher pay and to support our sheriff's office. And we approved that in October. Subsequently, in November, we approved the same raises for everyone. I'm not quite as confident in the math and how that's going to work for us moving forward. Nonetheless, we did that, and I voted for it. And in that motion, the deputies and 911 staff were excluded for some reason.
You asked
of
for it.
the. Can I finish?
Yes, you can. Sorry.
Excluded from the $500 Christmas bonus. And I'm not really sure why they, I don't really understand why they were excluded, that group, from the $500 Christmas bonus. So anyway, I'll make a motion that we allow that group, our deputies and our dispatchers, to be a part of the countywide $500 Christmas bonus. That's my motion, Madam Chair.
Let's see now, the other employee starts January 1st. they're started, is it November the 1st that they're
November
starting
1st on
November
theirs.
1st? Which makes them having more months on their $4,000 bonus than it does, or their raise, than it does the other county employees. So according to the figures, it would be like $666 extra that they got, which to me, that's their bonus.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little history. We reviewed some of this during the budget. You used the budget or the term budget earlier, Mr. Evans, and it was decided we weren't gonna do any budget raises like this. We did the typical raise that was planned. 5%, I think it was, if I remember correctly. Then we had to revisit it, I think, in September, because you wanted to give the sheriff's office and the 911
I don't think it was in
raises.
September, it was October. I just
Yeah,
done it one
We
time.
did visit another board meeting, and I suggested that we wait till budget next year, and we look at everyone's raises. And then you sprung it on us at that October meeting, and you, in the very end, and I'll give you credit here, you made the motion that we give the other employees a bonus, and you excluded the sheriff and them in the 911 office. You did that. Now, the point that Shelby's making is their raises started already in November. So they've already got $600 plus extra, which 500 of that would be the bonus, and they're ahead of the game from the others. And a big thing that I guess I'm kind of confused on is the way we got here. And you mentioned how the sheriff kind of explained everything. So let's revisit that a little bit. Yes, he lost his deputy to Norton. Then he turned around and stole one from Hayside. The same process, because you're dealing with capitalism here. People will go where the highest bidder is. If we think we're ever going to compete against these other counties, you're wrong. It's always going to be that game. So right now, what we've really done, and this goes across the board for the counties to know, we've spent at least $360,000 out of budget cycle that wasn't part of our budget when we look at all these raises. And we've raised the bar on these salaries in these comp board funded positions because the comp board pays for those positions. They set the salary. We've raised the bar above that $4,000 because when the raises come down next year for those comp board positions, they'll go on top of that. So it really, you're asking for something. I'm just in disbelief, and I guess I'm gonna go back to an email I read recently. We're following the November meeting after we voted for everyone to get raises. There was an email that went to all of us saying that it was a political stunt when we went and gave everyone a raise. The only political stunt's been you and your partnership with the sheriff's department and 911 office during this whole time. And because of that, we've now went $360,000 out of budget.
Did you vote for the sheriff's office raises or
I
not?
did, I
Okay.
did. And then I found out the next day that we
And I
stole
can't-
the employee from the Hayside.
I can't pull up the October minutes. Maybe you're right about, I don't know why we would have excluded them from Christmas bonuses.
You did it in, right, you thought of it as, and I think what you're thinking, a
Did we do
consolation
that
prize.
in the Christmas bonus?
In the Christmas bonus, we did. I don't know who done the motion or anything.
It's not on
Josh
mine.
did.
Not online, I was gonna look.
Josh did it.
Well,
So-
my motion's on the floor. So
I'm just saying.
so this
let's
is
leave it
your
alone.
MO is to vote for something and then rail on something. I mean, you've done that for 7 years now.
No, I have not.
I believe
Yes, you
that,
have.
Josh, if I remember correctly,
You voted for the
did
hemp
say
plant and you've done nothing but
exclude
rail on
them.
it for 7 years. You voted for it. We got the minutes on that.
For the what?
Mr.
The hemp
Evans,
plant in Lebanon that you've been, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I
Ms.
thought
Willis
that
is
you
speaking.
did exclude them as bonuses when we voted out the bonuses.
Maybe
Well, I
I did, I'm not saying I didn't, cause I can't see I don't remember that, or why we would have done that. I have no
I
idea.
don't know why we picked that that group out and not give them.
Well, that's why I don't, man, and I'm not
Because
saying
they-
you're
But I
wrong,
think
Ron, I
Shelby's got
can't
a
read it.
valid point, and Ron does too. They've already been drawing the races. They've got their $600 and some ahead, so.
okay.
So I guess there's not a second.
This is what I was gonna say. As chairman, as chairperson, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Evans to include the sheriff's department and the 911 that supposedly got excluded in a motion before for Christmas bonuses. Is there a second?
And I want, before public comment, if we have to take a recess, I want Teresa to get the minutes from the October meeting, please. If she can email that to me, or however I can get it before this meeting's over.
Okay, still no second for that? So item C for Christmas bonus fails to proceed for a vote with a fail of a second. And this may possibly come back for re-comment at the end or something other, but anyway. Okay, item number 10. We are ready to go into closed session. Need a motion and being read as presented on our paper for our closed session.
I make a motion that we go into closed session. A, section 2.2-3711A1, personnel, all departments. B, section 2.2-3711A5, economic development update.
I'll
Okay.
second that, Madam Chair.
Okay. We have a move and second to go into closed session. All in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Okay. Okay, we are now out of closed session, and I will hear a motion and a second to certify that only matters for our closed session was discussed.
I'll make the motion to certify.
Okay, second?
I'll second that. So
Okay,
when we
well-
discuss those issues.
We have a moving second on the floor to certify that only matters that was read for personnel and economic development was discussed in closed session. Ms. Willis, how you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
Aye as well. Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Okay. And number 12 is, do we have any matters to discuss coming out of closed session? That was coming out of closed session,
Madam
rather.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we extend a full-time position to Mr. Scotty Rastink at the truck shop.
Okay.
I'll second it.
A move and second to hire a full-time Mr. Rasnick at the truck shop. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Any opposed? Any other?
Madam
Matter-
Chair, I make a motion that we extend an offer of a part-time position to Mr. Roger Trevino.
I'll second.
We have a move and second to hire Mr. Trevino as our part-time employee at the truck shop. Any other comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye as well. Any opposed? Number 13, we're down, are there any other motions? Okay, now we're down to number 13, supervisors' comments, and I will start, as I have always done throughout this year, to my right, to Ms. Willis.
I just want to say I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ms. Slice?
I too wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I want to send congratulations to Chance Robinette for scoring 42 points. That broke the previous record, and they also, and Caitlin Hill was selected as leadership awards through the paper, the pictures in the paper. Caitlin Hill and Chance Robinette, very proud of you. I'm proud of, I also want to mention that the academic team did very well too. I'm proud of our academics as well as our sports. I thank everybody for my sister is home now and she's doing pretty good. Thank Josh for the offering to help me the other night. And I thank God for all the prayers for my sister and Joe.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, thank you. Want to extend appreciation to you for the good job you've done, and I mean that with all sincerity. One thing before I get to my closing remarks, I want to clarify that I've been able to look back at my notes and read back on the minutes. The October meeting, leading up to that meeting, there was a lot of work done by Mr. Barton, myself, and the sheriff to try to formulate a plan to increase wages for our deputies who sacrifice so much and work so much and are in danger all the time. We formulated a fiscally responsible plan that did not affect our budget in any way to give them and 911 dispatchers a raise. At that same time, I realized that the Christmas season was upon us and the budgeting process needed to be done to go ahead and appropriate bonuses as well. And at that time, we had voted, I believe it was 4-1, to approve the sheriff's office salary increases, which are more than justified. And we also, on my own idea, wanted to make sure that our other employees were rewarded with a Christmas bonus. And so as a compromise for what was a relatively heated debate, we did, and I did, make a motion that the sheriff's office would be and the dispatchers excluded from the Christmas bonus as a compromise to that situation. Then the next meeting, all the other employees who do great work, who hard work as well, but are not necessarily shot at, spit at, fought at, stabbed at, out at the hospital for 4 days, driving to Petersburg and spending 2 days away from their families, got the same raise. So tonight, I think it's wrong. I think it's pitiful that we didn't allow our deputies and dispatchers the same Christmas bonus when we had made a compromise and raised the salaries and had a fiscally analyzed and appropriate plan to do so. And then the next month, we do an unfiscally sound and unprudent plan to give raises across the board. And then now we deny our men and women in uniform a Christmas bonus. But I wanted to clarify that point because we hadn't had the minutes in hand to be able to, in my notes, to know what had exactly went on. So you were correct and good job that I did make that motion, but I wanted to give context to that. And otherwise, I hope everyone has a wonderful, healthy holiday. Aside from minor issues that I just said, I feel and am proud of the work this board collectively, all five of us have done on a lot of different big projects this year. We are always going to disagree on certain things, but again, as I said earlier, we have come together on a lot of big things that I'm very proud of and look forward to a new year.
Mr. Peters?
Okay. I just want to explain to you that we have been approached 3 different times to do those raises back in October. 3 different times. Immediately following the budget being closed and finished, we got approached. We did discuss it. The big crux in all this was we lost a deputy to Norton. Norton's got more money, they could offer to pay more. And I looked at that and I was like, that's always gonna be the case. We're the smallest county just about in the Commonwealth. But what really shocked me, I did vote yes on the deputies raises because with the data presented, not from every county, we made that decision. Then I find out a week later that we're complaining about what happened to me or us, but then we go steal the sheriff's deputy or the police officer from Hayside. Same kind of situation. We had better benefits. That's always gonna happen. That's the way this works. Now, as far as the bonuses, you need to understand, and I wanna make sure the public understands this. Those raises that were approved in October started immediately. That means those individuals will be $600 plus ahead of the ones we did for the rest of the employees that start in January. So they, in essence, really got the $500 bonus and then some. So there was nothing special done here. I didn't go and say, well, go give $100 to the employees. We solved that. Our goal was to be equitable with all our employees. We even discussed that night when we did the sheriff's deputies raises that already the governor's talking about raises next year. So we know there's raises coming possibly next year. And then back to the 911, I voted no on that. And it wasn't that I was against Rose giving them a raise. It's just I wanted to sit down and let's look at all our employees. And I explained that and tried to get them to do it during the budget cycle. I mean, when they came to us during last budget cycle, their only line of reasoning for a raise was McDonald's is paying more money. Well, that applies to every one of our employees. And they did say that. So that said, the bonuses were not warranted because they really got it ahead of time with their pay checks. Now, after all that, it's been a long night and I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, may I clarify something?
Yes.
Mr. Evans, I did work with Mr. Barton to see if we could afford those raises. And the only reason I voted no on the sheriff's department is, I worked down there for so many years, and it was hard to see other employees get raises and you didn't. And I think all of our employees are important. I think the sheriff's department's important. I think our other employees, and that's why I voted no. I want all of them to be treated equally. But I did work with Mr. Barton to see if we could afford that before I made the motion.
Yes, ma'am, I apologize.
Okay, down to me. I thank everybody for the support during this year. I know I have not had full support of my board for me being chair. If you go back and watch the minutes or the YouTube of the first 2 or 3 months' meetings, it was, to get a motion in a second was like pulling teeth. But we got through it. I have tried to be cordial to everybody. I've had comments out in the public that they thank me for serving as chair. I just think that everybody on our board should have that opportunity to serve as chair if they want, and not just one dominating person to be chair. But with that being said, you can't change the vote or anything, but I'd just like to do the best that I can for my county and treat people right and be nice to them. And I just hope everybody has, and I thank everybody for helping me out and thinking about me for recovery from my knee. But probably by summertime, I'll be going through it again. But I just thank for the opportunity to serve my county.
When you
And I
gonna
hope
start
everybody
cooking again?
has a Merry Christmas.
When you cooking again?
Oh, I've been cooking every day at
For the
home.
public,
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Yes, okay.
I sure would like to
Move,
have
move and second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
a,
Aye,
sure would like
thanks.
to have a